You are listening to the Businesstalk podcast. I am your host Deepak from India. We are pleased to welcome Dr. Chung Wha, Associate Professor of Fashion Business at the School of Fashion and Textiles at Hong Kong Polytechnic University, China, as our distinguished guest on today's podcast. Dr. Ki's research explores how people think, feel, and behave as a fashion consumers, and how these behaviors evolve within today's dynamic consumption landscape. Her work aims to uncover the core values and emotions that shape consumer decisions across four key areas. First is digital fashion retail and marketing. Second, AI and human computer interaction. Third, circular fashion. And fourth, luxury fashion. In the realm of digital fashion retail and marketing, Dr. Key investigates how emerging technologies, including the metaverse, digital fashion, and virtual avatars, are transforming the way consumers experience fashion. Her research highlights how virtual identities and digital ownership through avatars and fashion IPs are redefining what fashion means by seamlessly blending the digital and physical worlds. When it's come to AI and human-computer interaction, Dr. Key looks at how AI virtual influencers, online shopping assistants, and even in-store AI service robots affect how consumers think, feel, and engage with fashion brands. She is especially interested in how thoughtful interface design can enhance marketing effectiveness and improve service experiences. In her work on circular fashion, Dr. Key emphasizes the urgent need for the fashion industry to transition towards a truly circular economy. To support this goal, she developed a change readiness scale, a framework that assesses how prepared fashion organizations are for adopting circular practices and driving sustainable transformation. And in the area of luxury fashion, Dr. Key examines the rising interest in second-hand luxury goods and the psychological drivers behind consumer perceptions of pre-owned items. Her findings show that attitudes toward second-hand luxury are evolving as consumers increasingly view it not only as a sustainable choice but also as a wise form of consumption. Methodologically, Dr. Key employs a wide range of approaches from experimental and survey-based studies to qualitative analysis. Recently, she has integrated advanced AI tools such as Style Gun and Face Swap Gun into her research, bringing cutting-edge technology into her exploration of fashion consumer behavior. Beyond her scholarly work, Dr. Key also served as an associate editor for the Journal of Consumer Marketing, ABDC A category. Building on her research insights, Dr. Key brings his innovations into the classroom by incorporating metaverse environments and generative AI technologies into her teaching. She introduces students to platforms like Zepeto, helping them understand the significance of the metaverse, digital retail, avatars, and digital fashion as emerging areas for consumer engagement and brand expression. Through these projects, students also explore how fashion IPs such as fashion NFTs and fashion collectible figures inspired by avatars can extend the meaning and influence of fashion beyond traditional garments, transforming into digital content or even digital assets that hold aesthetic, experiential, and economic value. In today's episode, Dr. Key will share insights as we explore the topic AI Meets the Runway, how technology is reshaping fashion consumer experiences. Let's not keep you waiting. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Chloe Key to the podcast. Dr. Chloe, thank you for graciously accepting our invitation. It's an honor and privilege to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Deepak, and thank you so much for inviting me to your wonderful podcast series. I'm very excited to be here and to talk about such a meaningful topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Professor, let's start with a big picture. How would you
Mm.
describe the ways AI is transforming the fashion consumer experience today from discovery
Mm.
to purchase?
Well, thank you for opening such an important question. I think we can all agree that AI has become impossible to ignore. It's pretty much shaping every stage of the fashion consumer journey now. And if you think about the very first step, the fashion discovery space, that process looks completely different today. In the past, discovering fashion meant heading to the mall with friends or browsing through countless websites. But today, that process looks completely different. For most people, the search for new styles or outfit ideas now begins on social media. And social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok, they are powered by AI algorithm. They analyze what we like or what you watched, and then curate personalized suggestions for brands and looks that perfectly align with your and for brands and looks that perfectly align with your taste. So people are not stopping there. So Deepak, do you use ChatGPT?
Yes, I use.
We use it almost every day, right?
Yes.
So now we are using AI tools like ChatGPT to ask questions such as what are the biggest fashion trends right now? Or we are uploading our selfies on platforms like Nano Banana. Nano Banana is so amazing. And we are asking Nano Banana what outfits will look good on me. And AI-driven apps and virtual stylists take this even further, enabling users to receive customized outfit recommendations based on their body shape, skin tone, and individual style. So AI is not just reshaping how consumers discover fashion, it is also transforming how they interact with it. It's making fashion feel more personalized, more accessible, and ultimately smarter, whether through tailored styling tips or curated outfit suggestions. AI is creating a more intelligent, customized, and efficient consumer experience starting from the very first touch point.
Professor, virtual try-ons and digital fitting rooms are becoming more sophisticated.
Mm.
What do we know so far about these tools influence consumer confidence and purchase decisions?
Mm. Well, I love that question, Deepak. Virtual try-ons and digital fitting rooms are not only becoming more sophisticated, but they have evolved into powerful tools that are transforming the shopping experience. They go beyond showcasing advances in retail technology, but they enhance convenience, increase customer satisfaction, and ultimately build consumer confidence. As I mentioned earlier, in the past, shopping was a very social experience. People went to malls with friends, tried on clothes together, and sought feedback from sales associates, a kind of social proof that helped them feel more certain about their choices. But as AI and retail technologies have progressed, consumer behavior has shifted. Today's shoppers value speed, convenience, and independence more than social interaction. This shift has given rise to a new kind of confidence, one rooted in personal autonomy. Shoppers are now feel empowered because they can compare options, make decisions quickly, and rely on information rather than seeking validation from others. So the convenience and control that AI tools provide not only save time, but also enhance overall satisfaction with the shopping experience. We are now also seeing some retailers experiment with AI-powered service robots. So we are now seeing sorry, I'll do it again. We are now also seeing some retailers experiment with AI-powered service robots, which may sound futuristic, but actually align with these changing shopping habits. As consumers have grown used to contactless and self-directed shopping, AI-driven service can feel more comfortable and efficient, especially in fashion where some people prefer a private and pressure-free experience. So going back to your question, yes, these technologies are empowering consumers to feel confident, not because of social approval, but through information, control, and personalization.
Professor, as AI personalizes fashion recommendations, how do you see the balance between convenience and creativity? Does algorithmic curation risk narrowing our sense of personal style?
Thank you for another very relevant question, one that many people are asking today. There is a common concern that AI might make consumers lose their unique sense of style, or that AI might make designers one day be replaced by AI-generated creativity. But I don't believe this is the case. We should still think of AI as a tool, a much smarter one than the tools we have used before, but still just a tool. So, and it's also a source of inspiration, not a replacement for human creativity. To understand this, we can compare AI to how we follow social media influencers or style ideas. So when you follow influencers, you already know the kind of style you want to create. So you follow those influencers whose aesthetics resonate with your preferences. You don't simply copy them. You can use their content as a source of inspiration to explore how a particular look might work for you or to discover new ways to mix and match what you already own. So AI works in a similar way, but it skips the searching and filtering process. It quickly curates ideas and suggestions that match your existing preferences, yet you are still the one who provides the first direction. Your taste, your creativity, your sense of identity. That is the first direction. So from there, AI simply refines possibilities for you to consider and you decide which suggestions feel right or inspired. So it's like checking grammar with AI ChatGPT. So if you already understand the rules of writing, you can easily tell when something sounds off. The same logic applies to fashion. If you have your own taste and style, you will recognize instantly when an AI recommendation doesn't represent who you are. So at the end of the day, it is still consumers who hold the creativity, the taste, and the final say. AI can guide, inspire, and make discovery fast, but it cannot replace a human intuition, individuality, or imagination. Not yet.
Very insightful. Professor, many brands are investing in virtual showrooms and metaverse fashion
Mhm.
events. How are such immersive technologies reshaping the way consumers perceive brand identity and exclusivity?
Mm. That's a fascinating question and one we have been exploring recently in our research on consumer behavior in the metaverse. So, from the consumer's perspective, we found that immersive technologies in the metaverse are not just about interacting with a digital version of a brand. They're about merging physical and digital identities in a more authentic and meaningful way. So, in these spaces, brand identity becomes something consumers live and co create, not just something they observe. We call this liminal interaction, which means a boundary crossing experience where people bring elements of their real world selves and real world brands into digital environments. So wearing or owning a familiar brand virtually allows consumers to feel and maintain that sense of continuity and authenticity, even in a digital context. So this shift also redefines exclusivity. In the physical world, exclusivity traditionally meant scarcity, owning something few others could have. In the metaverse, however, exclusivity is less about possession and more about participation and personalization. So consumers create and customize digital fashions and digital fashion brands that reflect their individuality. They engage with limited edition experiences instead of simply acquiring rare fashions or rare fashion brands items. So this makes exclusivity more creative, democratic, and emotionally engaging. Our research also found that in the metaverse, users often dress their avatars in real-world brands they love as a form of brand advocacy and identity signaling. Virtual wearing becomes an act of emotional connection, showing loyalty and alignment with a brand's values. So for brands, that's a powerful evidence that both identity and exclusivity have become experiential, participatory, and emotionally driven rather than purely material. So in a way, the metaverse is transforming the relationship between consumers and brands. It's less about buying into exclusivity, but more about belonging, using branded digital fashion and the brand's items to feel connected to reality, to experience aspirational luxury in an accessible way, and to actively express support for the brands they love. In these immersive spaces, consumers are not just observers, they are participants who help shape and live a brand's identity.
Professor, could you elaborate on the psychological aspects? How do interactive AI-driven experiences affect trust, emotion, or attachment toward a fashion brand?
Well, we recently conducted a study looking exactly at that, and what we found challenges a common belief. Many assume that trust is the main driver of positive engagement with AI, but psychologically, we found that it's actually enjoyment, the fun people experience that plays a bigger role. Most shoppers engage with AI when they're online in a very relaxed and leisurely mindset. They are scrolling, they're browsing, or simply unwinding rather than shopping in a physical store. It's important to understand human AI interaction within that digital context because shopping isn't always about making a purchase. It's often a brief escape, a small moment of joy, or simply a way to reward oneself after a long, busy day. Our research shows that when AI interactions tap into that sense of enjoyment, for example, when virtual assistants feel playful or creatively engaging during online shopping, consumers begin to associate those positive emotions with the brand itself. Over time, that emotional enjoyment deepens brand attachment. So if AI is merely efficient or accurate, it might satisfy practical needs, but it won't spark connection. When it feels liberating, personalized, and genuinely enjoyable, it strengthens brand affinity or at a deeper psychological level. And even me being here today for this podcast interview reflects the same idea. I'm here because I know it's going to be a fun conversation, not just because I trust the platform or the work you do. That sense of enjoyment makes a huge difference. If fashion brands want to make the most out of AI, they need to think beyond functional attributes like efficiency, trust, or reliability. They should focus on designing AI experiences that evoke fun, joy, and emotional connection. When AI can do that, it does not just make shopping easier, it strengthens emotional attachment and long-term brand loyalty.
Professor, the aesthetics of AI-generated characters and avatars are evolving rapidly. How do these digital aesthetics challenge traditional ideas of authenticity and beauty in fashion?
That's another excellent and timely question. AI-generated avatars and digital characters are fundamentally reshaping how we think about beauty and authenticity in fashion. Traditionally, fashion has celebrated physical ideals like symmetry, perfection, human body, but AI-generated avatars and digital characters change that completely. They don't have to look realistic or they don't have to look perfect in the traditional sense. Instead, they live in a creative space where identity, emotion, and narrative matter more than flawless appearance. That means in digital environments, authenticity doesn't just come from looking real. It comes from feeling real. An avatar can be surreal, stylized, or even imperfect, yet still feel authentic if it expresses a clear cultural story, emotion, or creative purpose. A good example is the Netflix and Sony Pictures animation film K-pop Demon Hunters. Have you watched that movie, Deepak?
Yes, I have watched.
Yeah, so if you watch, you will know that it tells the story of three K-pop idols, Rumi, Joey, and Mira, who secretly live double lives as performers and demon hunters. If you look at their character designs, they don't exactly fit conventional beauty standard. However, we are captivated by them. Why is that? It's because the film blends K-pop culture and real-world music trends with fantasy storytelling that these three women idols battling male demons. That brings the characters to life. People respond to them because they convey meaning, identity, and creativity rather than surface beauty. And this idea translates directly to fashion. As brands begin designing their own digital avatars or AI-driven campaigns, the focus shouldn't just be on creating flawless or idealized visuals. Instead, the goal should be to express emotional truth, cultural resonance, designs that feel authentic and connected through the character's personality, story, and cultural symbolism. That's what makes these new digital aesthetics so powerful. They don't erase the traditional values of fashion, but they expand them. They remind us that beauty today is not just about outward appearance, but more about inner character, emotion, and stories that make each creation feel alive.
Professor, as fashion brands adopt AI, what ethical concerns should they be most mindful of, especially
Mm,
regarding privacy, bias, the manipulation
mm,
of consumer perceptions?
mm. Well, that's a really important question. So far we have talked a lot about the bright and exciting side of AI. But as you have just asked, there's definitely another side we need to consider, the ethical implications. When it comes to fashion brands, I think the biggest concern isn't just about privacy, but about bias, particularly how AI might unintentionally reinforce existing stereotypes or inequalities. Of course, privacy and data use matter, but most consumers today are at least somewhat aware that their data is being collected by brands. So, what is far more troubling is when AI systems start making biased decisions. For instance, discriminating based on like consumer skin tone, facial features, or body types. So we have already seen these kinds of biases in physical retail. In the past, sales associate in some fashion or beauty stores, they unfairly targeted shoppers of color, even accusing them of shoplifting. And now, if similar bias is embedded in digital tools, for example, let's say virtual makeup try-ons that don't match darker skin tones, or for example, AI style recommendations that fail to include diverse body shapes, we risk turning old discrimination into a new, more automated form. That is why one of the biggest responsibilities for fashion brands adopting AI is to ensure inclusivity and transparency in how these systems are designed and trained. The data behind AI must represent a wide range of people across different races, different genders, different ages, and different body types. So the technology truly serves everyone, not just a small segment.
Professor, I would like to conclude this episode with one last question.
Mm.
Looking ahead, how do you envision the next frontier of AI meets fashion? Will consumers increasingly co-create their fashion experiences with technology rather than
Mm.
simply consume them?
That's a perfect question to end on because it really captures where everything we have been discussing naturally leads. I believe the new frontier of AI meets fashion will be defined by co-creation, where consumers engage with AI not just as buyers, but as creative partners. The more we live in digital spaces, whether through social media, virtual shopping, or the metaverse, the more accustomed have become to interacting with technology rather than real human and real people. And this shift means consumers now feel increasingly comfortable expressing themselves through AI. In this new environment, people won't simply consume fashion. They will begin to shape fashion. AI will help individuals discover what styles resonate with them. They will learn what works for their personality or mood and even generate new looks that combine culture, music. Instead of fashion being detected by trends, it will evolve through a dialogue between human imagination and intelligent systems. So we are already seeing signs of this. AI stylists that learn your taste, virtual avatars that reflect your personality and your fashion taste, and creative tools that turn everyday users into potential designers. So as we move forward, fashion will no longer be something consumers simply buy or wear. It will be something they co-create, blending emotion, their mood, their culture, and the technology into new forms of self-expressions, allowing everyone to become part of fashion's creative conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Chloe, for sharing such fascinating insights into how artificial intelligence and digital innovation are transforming the fashion landscape. Your perspectives on consumer behavior, sustainability, and the evolving relationship between technology and creativity truly highlight the exciting future of fashion. It's been a pleasure having you with us on today's podcast episode on AI Meets the Runway. Thank you once again.
Once again, thank you so much, Deepak, for having me on your very good and prestigious, meaningful business talk podcast series. It has been truly a joy to share this conversation. Thank you so much.